I'm Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, and welcome to a long overdue episode of the Chickenhead Chronicles. Now this week, I'm going to be reviewing something really cool that I actually got in the mail a couple of months back, and that is the boxed version of The Shadow over Hawksmill. The game itself reads like a who's who of important people in the Commodore 64 community. It was coded by Stuart Collier. Game design, graphics, and the box artwork were done by Trevor Story, and the music was done by the awesome Saul Cross. All of these guys have had lots of experience in the Commodore 64 community and contributed to a lot of other gaming projects and other projects over the years. The publishers of the game are Cytronic Software at cytronic.net. I'll put their website right down here. They're quite prolific, and they have a great selection of VIC-20, Commodore 64, and even some Amiga software available on their website. But unfortunately, their website is a bit of a pain to get around in. For example, if you go to it right now, I'm going to show you a clip of it right here. There's a big splash screen for Shadow over Hawksmill, and that's all it shows. Big splash screen. Great. Click on it. What happens? Well, it takes you to the main screen, which doesn't mention Shadow over Hawksmill at all. But you scroll down it a little bit, and hey, there's a link for the previous game, which is Rocky Memphis, The Legend of Atlantis. Cool. So click on that. We're going to go right to Rocky Memphis. And no, it takes you to a totally different website with a very not descriptive link to the actual Shadows over Hawksmill software, and now we're on some site called Binary Zone that doesn't even really mention Cytronic. And so good luck trying to find anything on the site. You can get to it, but it's like a 1990s version of a e-commerce site. The game uses the same gaming engine as the previous one I mentioned, which is Rocky Memphis, The Legend of Atlantis. Now, I personally haven't played the game, but I've heard good things about it and seen some reviews, and it looks like a pretty good game. Kind of an Indiana Jones type of thing. Before we jump into the goodies in the box, the premise of this game, it's kind of an H.P. Lovecraft-inspired type game, a lurking horror type game. The title itself, Shadow over Hawksmill, is a direct homage to The Shadow over Innsmouth, which is a very popular H.P. Lovecraft story. And a lot of the other references in the game are going to be direct references to Lovecraftian type genres, which is a good thing because it's really cool. Cthulhu Fhtagn. You play as an investigator in 1947, investigating the disappearance of the people of this town. You go in there armed with your pistol and your wits, and you try to explore and find out just what on earth happened here. But let's get into the gameplay itself in a couple of minutes. For now, let's take a look at the goodies that were included in my collector's edition box. Now, the box itself is really presented well. It's made of nice quality cardboard. It's not one of the little cheap boxes. And the graphics and cover art by Trevor Story are absolutely beautiful. And it has on the back a description of the game and some nice color screenshots of it. So that's absolutely beautiful. As we get inside the box, the first thing we have is a nice Cytronic card that has their logo on it. Psst. Hey, Cytronic, Psygnosis called, and they want their logo back. Next, we have an awesome manual here, and it's several pages long, and it is illustrated. It goes over the background of the game a little bit, how to play it, how to load it on tape, information about the controls, everything you might need. So go ahead and take this manual to school with you, and you can read it over lunch, just like we used to do back in the day. Now, mine came on cartridge. Yours may come on disc or on tape, depending on which version you bought. Now, this is a very, very high quality cartridge. And you see, that's not just a sticker on there. That's actually like a 3D sticker type thing that's on there. Really, really nice quality. They did not skimp at all with this cartridge. Now, everybody needs buttons and pins, and we have one up upside down, shadow over Hawksmill, and we have one Cytronic one here, which is kind of cool. Wear your retro colors proudly. Now here we have a keychain, which is kind of fun. And this is going to be a shadow over Hawksmill on one side, and on the other, Icon 64. Now, you're going to want to put the key to your Huffy bike on here, so when you go down to the arcade to play some Donkey Kong, you have your bike locked up. And here's a fun thing. This is an actual CD with Saul Cross's music on it. So you've got the music from the actual game right on here, and it's cool because they created it so it looks like a vinyl record, but it's actual just a regular audio CD. Now, if only I had an actual audio CD player left in my house. Here's a nice postcard, shadow over Hawksmill, and on the back it has the description. London, 1947. Inspector Black has been called up to the village of Hawksmill. Disappearances of villagers have the local police baffled. As a specialist in missing persons, your expertise will be most welcome to help solve the case. Upon arriving, however, the village is quiet, empty. Not a single person, adult or child, can be seen. What strange circumstances have happened here? Grabbing your trusty revolver, you make your way across the cobbled lane and into the shadow over Hawksmill. Dun dun dun! Now this next thing, this is too cool. This is an actual keyboard overlay for the function keys. Goes right there, and it has a description of what each function key does, what its effects are. I wish more games included this. This is awesome. And this brings up a good point. Modern day people complain about the single button joystick on our Commodore 64s and our Amigas, but back in the day, I don't remember us whining much about that at all, because we had full keyboards that would substitute for any button that we could possibly imagine. I don't ever remember it being a problem. And lastly, we've got some stickers. We've got our Icon 64, we have our Cytronic software, and we have some for the actual game itself. And these are nice quality stickers. Now, I'm not really sure whether I'm going to put these on the outside of my history notebook or if I'm going to put them up in my locker. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Now, I do not mind spending the $50 that I spent on this particular setup right here, because it comes with so many cool and collectible goodies. I feel like it was worth every penny. Now, let's move on to the game. I'm going to be playing it on my trusty 64C, which I just cleaned up. So I think it looks pretty nice now. Now, this has got the Commodore Forever branded breakout box that gives us a couple of audio ports on here, not stereo unless you have a stereo SID in there, or two SIDs, but it sends it both mono out the same channels. It's got a composite video out, a nice S-video connector, which is what I'll be doing. I'm hooking this little guy up to my RetroTink 2 and recording it onto my capture card. This is kind of my go-to machine for doing basic games like this, and also for running GeoSun. This is the cartridge version of the game, and when you turn it on, you are given the choice to start the game, watch the intro video, or watch a cool music demo. The demo lasts a few minutes and plays through some really nice Saul Cross music and includes scrolling text. You can click the fire button to change the song. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the intro. It starts out with a spooky silhouette of a house, where we soon see a man writing a letter about the spooky findings in Hawksmill. It's certainly worth a watch. When you start the game, you can press the F1 key to change the rain effects. You can have the rain appear in the sky, which looks the best, have it rain in the town, which is not so pretty since the drops are not sprites, or turn rain off altogether. Once the game starts, you must learn quite quickly to search everything, as your bullets are in the boxes right under your feet. You can come back here anytime to refill your bullets if you run low. You start out being able to hold 50 bullets, but you can discover bigger ammo pouches in the game and hold much more. There are a few types of guns in the game you can find. Search everywhere. Anytime you see a box or barrel, you never know what may be inside. Here you see I found a green key, which will open up a green locked door. You can swap between items in your inventory, like swapping from the pistol to the key with the F1 key. We can just pop right in the open door and see nice, creepy shadow things. Let's blow them away. Now you can see the importance of increasing your ammo. Right up here in this safe, we can get an ammo pouch that holds 100 bullets. You will need it. Now I find a yummy apple, which if eaten, restores you to full health, just like in real life. Next, we can climb a ladder and fight more shadow creatures and retrieve our first puzzle item. You will need these things to open doors later in the game. Now we will head down into the caves. Hold down the fire button and you can change the aim on your reticle, critical for hitting beasties way up high. But be aware, you keep shooting while trying to aim and can burn through bullets quite quickly this way. Oh look, a human head. How lovely. Of course we'll put that in our knapsack, because video games. Avoid these obvious traps, and we enter the next room looking for more clues. A rock hammer! That's bound to come in handy. After we find them, let's backtrack and leave these caves. Back outside, we meet Fido, the immortal puppy, and our worst enemies, the bats. You can never see because they blend into the background. Fly in your face, you can't shoot them, and then chew off your face. You'll grow to hate these. The climbing animations are actually pretty cool. Avoid this trap here and we move forward to battle more invisible bats. Now we find a crumbly rock wall. If only we had something in our inventory to break a crumbly wall. How about a convenient rock hammer? Down the ladder to meet more shadow creatures and more bats. And a scroll with a clue. A door with a single cross. Don't we have one in our inventory? And we find a shotgun, much more damaging, but slower to shoot. Into the unlocked room, and we find some of our missing villagers. Let's release them, because that's the kind of guy we are. More beasties! Kill them! Well, that looks pretty darn good, and the gameplay is really a lot of fun. Now, I have a few criticisms of the game. I mean, nothing is absolutely perfect. I do wish there were a few more apples. There are times that, my health is getting low and there just weren't any apples to eat and I just died. Now, the bats are another thing. Just like in every video game that has bats, they are the most evil and hideous things in all creation. And you won't even be able to see them sometimes when you're outside because they blend in with the background. They swoop down, they get right on top of you, and before you can turn around to aim your gun, they've eaten up all your couple of health points that you have left. But the game has real depth, real goals, and a real ending, which is awesome in a Commodore 64 game. Now, this game gets an incredibly high recommendation from me. Whether you're a Lovecraft fan like myself, or you're just in the mood for a good kind of a horror action RPG, I'll call it, or you just want to support our Commodore 64 community. Pick this up. Spend $50, get the entire boxed version on cartridge. Spend $30, get the disc version. Spend $5, get the digital version, whatever you want. But get the game, it's really good. I would be remiss if I did not thank my wonderful patrons for their support and their efforts in keeping this channel going. I really do appreciate that. And as you can see, here's a nice list of my favorite patrons. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more 8-bit and Amiga coverage. Leave a comment down below with your favorite 8-bit games and what modern 8-bit games you think I'd have a good time covering on my channel. But until next time, this is Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast telling you that the Commodore 64 is superior in every way to the ZX Spectrum. Signing out.